Hi, I'm Dave Wurzel, and you're watching Spotlight on PHTV4. Today's Spotlight is taking a look at the football program at Allen B. Shepard High School in Palos Heights. With me is head coach John Roan. Coach Roan, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I know we're early in the season. You just had your first game. Congratulations! You had a nice win, I think, over one of the TF schools, wasn't it?
Yeah, TF South, very good program traditionally. Definitely happy to get out of there with a week 1 victory.
Yeah, always to start on a positive note. Brings some energy to the program, right?
Oh, absolutely.
How about your background first, though? How long have you been head coach? What do you teach here? How did you land here?
Well, this is my 15th year coaching. My 5th year as head coach here at Shepard. I am also a special education teacher here. Prior to coming to Shepard, I was actually at a sister school in the district, Eisenhower, where I was a football coach for 9 years. Started out as a teacher assistant and also became a special ed teacher while I was there.
Well, good. I'm happy for Shepard. Eisenhower's lost, Shepard's gained here. So
that's how I see it.
Good. Good luck with that. I'm glad you're here. Do you want to talk a little bit? So you started off good. What did the early season? And I know you guys have run camp all summer. How did preparation go this year? Into the early season, and then maybe we can take a look about what do you hope to accomplish then, based on what you've seen so far.
It's been a road to get here. Last season, honestly, we were coming off a conference championship, first one that the school had in 27 years, and we started out the season 0-4, and that is not something we want to do here. So a lot went into the off season. We actually had a large turnover on our coaching staff as well. The guys bought in this off season, lift weights at a very high level, played a bunch of different sports, and also worked out. The new coaches came in, bought into our way of doing things, built good rapport with our athletes, and it just turned out to be a good situation. We did change up the way we prepare over the summer. We broke down the summer into a couple of different segments, and we think it really did pay off this past Friday.
Good. I hope it continues to pay off this season for you. You mentioned that you have athletes who are multiple sport athletes. I mean, personally, I'd like to hear that. I know it's tough at our level. There is a push to specialize, or kids want to in many cases. How has that helped or impacted your program in a positive way, do you think?
Well, first and foremost, they're high school kids, right? They're teenagers. So anytime they're involved in something constructive, such as a sport, it keeps their minds on the right path and not as open to following, bad influences. Outside of that, it allows them to stay active, which helps their conditioning. Our guys go to track. Our track program, those guys do a phenomenal job with our kids. Every time they come back faster. Also, we have a very good wrestling program. We send guys to the wrestling team. They always come back better understanding leverage, tougher, and leaner. So, it is the day of specialization. Here, we like to see the multi-sport athlete. You're only a high school athlete once. Participate in as much as possible, and it'll still help you in football.
Sure. A lot of those same skills transfer, like you said, whether it's conditioning, speed, leverage, being competitive, right? Yes. All those parts, let alone they're in a good, healthy environment, and it's part of, I would agree, the high school experience. They're teenagers, enjoy it all. Yeah. How about then the season so far? You got the win in. What does it look like going forward for you in the rest of the schedule and maybe the postseason?
Well, we don't have an easy schedule. We started out, obviously, against TF South. This coming week, we do play Plainfield East. Pretty good school, large school, good program with some Division I talent on it. From there, we play Hillcrest. Richards is always on the schedule. Our conference, we feel, is getting tougher. Evergreen Park seems to steadily be on the rise, and we know our fellow sister school, Eisenhower, also has some pretty good athletes and is a solid program. So we just feel like if we keep worrying more about us, we make sure we stay relentlessly disciplined, show mental toughness both when adversity strikes and when ahead to keep the foot on the gas pedal, we should be just fine.
Yeah, those are all key parts of it too. You got to be relentless. You're going to need some breaks every now and then, but you got to be dialed in and getting after it. And ultimately, you only have control over yourselves, right? I mean, that's what you got to do. Let's talk about that part a little bit. So you mentioned, I want to hear about your staff a little bit. How about some of the athletes on the team, that are going to help make this season happen for you?
Sure. We have a very interesting mix this year. We did bring up 6 sophomores to the varsity level, but we also have 6 3-year varsity players on the varsity level. Our kicker is actually a 4-year guy. He kicked a 39-yarder this past week. Captain Xavier Rogers, who had a phenomenal game this week, scored on offense and defense. He's a starter, clearly our leading touchdown maker the last couple of seasons at the receiver position, Elijah Tyson. He's back, scored a touchdown this week as well. Quarterback Ron McKellen has really matured and entered a whole new stratosphere as far as what he's providing. So those guys look like they'll lead the way pretty good. We have sophomores that are working their tails off. Some of them played really good and made some good things happen for us this past week. So when we include how young we are in many areas, we see ourselves getting better and better as the season progresses.
It sounds like you have you have the young kids, but it sounds like you've got a good mix of kids with a lot of experience and some leadership who are there to help them make that transition too.
Yes, that's accurate. And you know, traditionally we select 4 captains. Some of our senior leadership over the summer was just so high to the point that we end up naming 5 captains this year.
It's nice. It's a good problem to have.
Yes, it is.
Then how about the staff then that makes this happen? You know, you talk about so many pieces in this puzzle, and obviously the staff is a big part of that.
Yeah, our staff has undergone some changes. Our defensive coordinator, Vincent Holmes, has moved over to the offensive side. Andre Taylor has taken over as our defensive coordinator. We have a few new varsity coaches come in, taking over the O-line, Kelsey O'Neill, our running back coach, Jermaine Jackson. We have a tight ends and safeties coach, and Coach Kevin Zebo. He's come over, wealth of experience there. All those guys are true football coaches, and they have done an immaculate job in helping us get back to where we want to be, referring to not starting out 0-4.
Right. Makes the job a little better, right, when you got a bunch of great guys. Then the next thing I want to ask is a big part of the game is motivating players, but also for yourself, where you draw your inspiration from. Can you talk about either whether it's another athlete or you know, somebody that you draw inspiration from, and maybe then how that connects to the way you coach or how you impart that on your athletes?
That's an easy question for me. I'm a Simeon High School graduate, and I was lucky enough to play under Coach Al Scott, who's a Hall of Fame coach. And the impact that man made on my life and my teammates, it inspired me to become a coach. Obviously, my love of football played a role, but the way he coached us and taught character first and let that be what turned us into good football players and a good team, I really just have found to be effective in my entire life, both professionally and now as a head coach. So, yeah, my coaching inspiration definitely comes from Coach Scott, and I hope I'm doing his legacy justice.
It sounds like you are, and certainly it speaks to that the impact he had on your life. Obviously, if you didn't have that wonderful experience with Coach Scott, you might not be coaching today, right? I mean, that's
you know that's very accurate. It was honestly, I made the decision to go ahead and jump into coaching when I was at his funeral.
Yeah. So thankfully that he had such a powerful experience, and now you're able to share that with your kids. Coach, good luck this year. Thank you for coming in. I wish you guys the best. It's exciting. The season's starting out, and it looks like there's a lot of potential coming up. So good luck this year.
Thank you much for having me.
I'm Dave Wurzel, and you've been watching Spotlight. Spotlight's been on the football program at Allen B. Shepard High School. Thank you for watching.